You know that feeling when someone asks what you do, and you hesitate not because you don't know, but because the real answer is complicated? You're a writer who also codes. You understand design principles. You've read extensively about neuroscience. And somehow, you ended up learning about supply chain management last month because it seemed interesting. Your LinkedIn profile looks like a fever dream. Your resume reads like 3 different people. And every career counselor you've ever met has given you the same advice. You need to focus. Pick one thing. Become an expert. But here's what nobody tells you. What if the advice is wrong? What if your so-called lack of focus might actually be your most valuable asset? Today, we're going to explore why society has been lying to you about success and how your generalist mind is exactly what the future needs. Let's talk about where the shame comes from. The phrase, "jack of all trades, master of none," isn't actually the full quote. The original saying was, "A jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one." That second part disappeared somewhere along the way. Convenient, isn't it? Because the Industrial Revolution needed specialists, people who could perform one task over and over with perfect precision, the factory model rewarded depth and punished curiosity. This created a cultural mythology that your value is directly proportional to how deep you go into one narrow domain. That mythology still runs in the background of every career advisor who's ever told you to niche down. But here's the problem. The world they're preparing you for no longer exists. Let me tell you about 2 different kinds of intelligence: crystallized intelligence and fluid intelligence. Crystallized intelligence is deep, domain-specific knowledge. A cardiologist can spot anomalies in an EKG that would be invisible to you because they've seen 10,000 cases. This is incredibly valuable, but it doesn't transfer well. A cardiologist's expertise about hearts doesn't help them understand organizational culture or narrative structure. That's where fluid intelligence comes in, the ability to reason about novel problems and see patterns across different domains. This is where generalists dominate. Every time you learn something new in a completely different field, you weren't being scattered. You were building cognitive flexibility. There's a concept called analogical thinking, the ability to take a principle from one domain and apply it somewhere unexpected. In the 1990s, psychologists gave people a medical problem. How do you destroy a tumor with radiation without destroying healthy tissue? Most people got stuck. But then they told participants a story about a general attacking a fortress who couldn't send all his troops down one road. So he split them into small groups down multiple roads that converged simultaneously. Suddenly, people solved the tumor problem. Send radiation from multiple angles, converge on the tumor, spare the healthy tissue. Same principle, different domain. Generalists do this automatically because you have more domains to draw from. You remember how ecosystems self-regulate and apply it to organizational design. You remember how storytelling creates tension and apply it to user experience. You remember how the immune system distinguishes self from non-self and apply it to brand identity. This isn't shallow knowledge. This is integrative genius. Here's where it gets interesting. When you become too specialized, your brain gets really good at one type of problem. So good that it starts applying the same solution to everything, even when it doesn't fit. Psychologists call this cognitive entrenchment. Researchers studied Nobel Prize winners and compared them to other accomplished scientists. The difference? Nobel winners were significantly more likely to have serious hobbies outside their field. They weren't just physicists, they painted, composed music, or wrote poetry. Richard Feynman, one of the greatest physicists of the 20th century, spent serious time learning to draw and play bongos. Why? Because engaging with multiple domains keeps your brain flexible. You can approach problems from angles that pure specialists would never consider. The specialist sees the world through one lens. The generalist has an entire collection of lenses and can choose the right one for the situation. So how do you leverage this? Here's the trap. If you spread yourself too thin, you become the person who knows a little about everything, but can't deliver results. That's just dabbling. The key is depth in at least one area, enough that people trust you, combined with other skills that create your uniqueness. Take John Maeda, a designer who also studied computer science at MIT and leadership. Is he the world's best designer? Maybe not. Best programmer? No. Best leadership expert? No. But is there anyone else who can integrate design thinking, computational thinking, and leadership development the way he can? Also no. That combination made him irreplaceable as president of the Rhode Island School of Design and partner at a major venture capital firm. Here's what you need to do. Choose your anchor. Pick one domain where you'll build credible depth, the thing that pays the bills, while you develop everything else. This takes 12 to 24 months of focused effort. Map your satellites. Write down your other interests. Don't judge them, just acknowledge them. Find the through line. Connect your diverse skills into a coherent narrative. Maybe your through line is helping people make better decisions. Your anchor is data analysis. Your satellites are psychology and communication. Suddenly, you're not a scattered data analyst. You're someone who translates complex data into insights people can actually use. Build a capture system. Your brain constantly links ideas across domains. Write them down. When you notice that fungi sharing nutrients is like open source developers sharing code, capture it. Later, you can apply it to collaboration problems at work. Now let's address the anxiety. That voice saying, what if I'm just afraid of commitment? Psychologists studied specialists who practiced one skill intensively versus generalists who sampled across multiple skills. In the short term, specialists dominated. But in the long term, generalists caught up and surpassed them through transfer learning, taking lessons from one domain and applying them elsewhere. Your anxiety comes from short-term measurement. At the 1-year mark, yes, the specialist looks better. But at the 20-year mark, that's where your investment pays off. We're moving from complicated problems to complex problems. Building a car is complicated. Follow the blueprint and it works. But raising a child, designing an organization, addressing climate change, these are complex. No blueprint works twice because the system is always changing. Complex problems require people who can hold multiple perspectives simultaneously, integrate insights from different domains, and see the whole system. That's you. Your brain is wired for complexity. So here's what I want you to understand. You're not broken. You're not scattered. You're not afraid of commitment. You're a different kind of thinker, operating in a world that's just starting to realize it needs you. The shame you feel is cultural lag, an outdated operating system trying to run on new hardware. Ignore it. Choose your anchor. Build real depth there. Then, strategically expand. Collect your satellites. Find your through line. And trust that the connections you make are exactly what the world is hungry for. You were never meant to be the person who knows everything about one thing. You were meant to be the person who connects different worlds and helps others see what they're missing. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, subscribe for more insights on unlocking your potential and thriving in a complex world. Stop apologizing for your curiosity and start leveraging it. I'll see you in the next one.